Hi, I'm Stine, and thank you for joining me in my studio this afternoon in Purcellville, Virginia. And thank you for joining me for my first Facebook Live Artist Talk. Today I'm going to give you a little bit of background about myself as an artist and then describe this collection of landscapes behind me. I'm a mixed media artist and I specialize in encaustic painting. If you haven't heard about encaustic, encaustic is a combination of beeswax mixed with a damar resin, which is a tree sap, and pigment. I create my own paints by mixing this combination, and then I'm able to paint landscape paintings. Each month I create a virtual art exhibit that I send to people on my newsletter list. If you'd like to be a part of that list, go ahead and DM me today and I have a surprise for you. I'll be giving away this note card. This is the work called Pirouette at Dawn. It's available right now on my website. And if you DM me your email address today, I'm going to do a drawing at the end of the night and post who the winner is to receive this note card. So a little bit of background about me. I grew up in Fairfax, Virginia, in an old farmhouse that my dad actually grew up in. And around that property, there were beautiful trees and a lake and a creek. And I spent most of my childhood outside. If I wasn't outside, I was drawing. And that's basically how I lived my life. And I guess that experience of being outside and loving nature is what's inspired me as an artist. And you can see my love of nature and the connection that I feel in each of my artwork. I've been living here in Purcellville for 10 years with my family of 3 kids and a husband. And he's standing right there. He's like, I've been a professional artist for 20 years. The last 6 years, I've been working with my original paintings. And before that, I was a mural painter while the kids were growing up. And that was something I really enjoyed doing. And before the mural business, I was in marketing, where I worked for local government, a major IT corporation, and an arts marketing firm as a marketing director. So I guess you could say I'm an example of it's never too late to follow your dreams. In fact, if you want to follow me on Instagram and Facebook, I share a bit of my story of the transition of going from one career to another. So let's get started talking about the exhibit. These works were in my virtual art exhibit for February. And let's start with this 24 by 24 encaustic mixed media. It is called Waterfall of Hope. The inspiration was a photograph that my friend sent to me, and I immediately was enamored by the composition. I love how the water is coming down from one corner and coming right at you in the painting. I also enjoy the tonal contrast of values with the lights and the darks juxtaposed with each other. And then I absolutely love the palette of winter, the soft lavenders and greens and yellows that I'm able to create in a harmonious way that still has some warmth, even though it's a very cold season. One technique I used and that I absolutely really love when I'm making my water paintings is a technique called dry brushing. It's where you have a little bit of the paint on a brush and then you continually paint in an area until it builds and builds. So in this area here where the water is just splashing everywhere, you're able to see detail of that texture. Each of my paintings, there is a process. So I begin with a base painting using pastels. Pastels work well with encaustic because the two can fuse together. I can't use acrylic because a polymer and the wax just don't mix. So I do a base painting of pastel that I'm able to then create and work my composition and color choices, and then I start laying on the wax. So you can see when you get closer, and if you'd like to come see this in person, you would be able to see many layers looking through the wax, which is very luminous, as well as the texture. So we'll move on to the next painting. This painting is Streaming Current, a 12 by 12 encaustic mixed media. And let me show you that all my paintings are painted on the side. If you can see, the image extends to the sides so that you have a feeling of space. And now I'm going to struggle with this. So you have a feeling that the image wraps around and actually is part of your home decor wall. There is no frame that limits the image, and that is something you'll find in all my work. So, Streaming Current is one of 4 here, a collection of that. The inspiration was a day at the Virginia National Golf Course. Now that golf course is here in Loudoun County, and it has been, I like to say, renovated into a nature reserve by Shenandoah University. So all the greens are overgrown and you're able to walk along the Shenandoah River. It is a gorgeous place. So I was there with my husband one winter's day, it was last month, and he was lamenting about how the golf course is no longer, he's able to go there, and how he hit a drive off this tee and blah, blah, blah. The whole time I'm taking pictures and just amazed of how beautiful it was. So these 4 paintings are inspired by that day. This painting, I would like to highlight one technique I used, and that's using a hot iron to create this current design. I first applied the paint, and then very gently and holding my breath, I take a hot iron and strike across the wax and creating this very intricate design, giving a sense of movement to the painting. Moving on to these 8 by 8 painting collection. This first one is titled, I always forget the names, Streaming Forever. Again, it's the same process, laying down the base painting in pastel, adding the encaustic. I use the iron to create the reflection, and I really enjoyed working with the grays in the reflection, the grays of the sky and grays of the water. And then once that smooth surface is created with the iron, adding details with the encaustic in the highlights. I also used a hot stylus to create detail in the root area there. This next painting is called Wandering Water. It is also of the Shenandoah, where it was doing a curve, and I was so excited to be able to do an incising technique where I incise the wax and cutting with a little sculpting tool, and then filling that area with oil paint. I wipe away the oil paint and the design is left. However, I have to heat it with the blowtorch to make sure that it is bonded. Very delicate work, and I'm glad that it came out well. This last painting is Winter River Song. And what I enjoyed about this painting is, again, that pastel landscape in the back, peeking through the layer of encaustic medium, and then building on the wax so that I am creating more and more definition and color and texture as you move forward in the painting. So you really feel, and it's hard to see on the camera, I'm sure, but the texture is there in the foreground, and you are peering back into the more atmospheric background. Now, there was a 6th painting, and it was called Pastel Reflection. And I'm sorry it already sold. I'm really happy, but I'm sorry that it's not here that I can show you. Now, again, that's an opportunity. If you join my newsletter list, you will receive my artwork announcements right away as soon as they are completed in the virtual art exhibit at the beginning of each month. So again, send me your DM me your email, and I can get you on that list. All right, let's move on to I have a surprise. I have a couple other paintings here, so please join me. This painting is Temperature is Rising. Now, this has been on my website for a while, but I am so excited to announce that unless it sells within a week or two, this painting is going to the Encaustic Artist Institute Museum. And it is such an honor to have a piece in the only museum that's dedicated to encaustic painting. So again, this is Temperature is Rising, and it is available for a short time on my website. To my right here is Miracle of Fragility. And this painting is a more contemporary design. As you see, it's a waterscape. I love how the pigmented shellac just did these beautiful little cells, very contemporary, very abstract within the water and marsh feel of this piece. This piece did win a first prize in the show at Franklin Park Art Center. And I believe it was for the most thought-provoking piece in the exhibit at that time. This piece is also available on my website. So thank you for coming and watching this artist talk today. Sign up for my newsletter either by direct messaging me with your email or going to the website where you can type it all right in there and submit right away. Please like and share this video. I really appreciate your support during this time, and I can't wait to offer classes in the studio as soon as everything is safe. Thanks again, and I'll be seeing you soon.